It's pretty interesting. The reason why so many people like white collar workers are so stressed these days, one of the theories is that back in the caveman days, stress was used as a way for you to move your body. So when you naturally move your body because something is hunting you, then you're going to keep running, right? And then that will relieve the stress you experience from being hunted. But we feel a lot of stress right now from things like deadlines or work or stuff like that, but you can't relieve that stress because you're not actually moving your body to relieve it, so you're just trying to move your brain to do so. That's why exercise is so important, because you're kind of compensating for that, getting that stress out of your body, because it's a very physiological reaction that has to occur.
This episode of Ken's Nearest Neighbors is powered by Z by HP, HP's high compute workstation grade line of products and solutions. Today, I had the pleasure of interviewing Luke Barousse and Tina Huang. This is both of their second appearances on the Ken's Nearest Neighbors podcast. I'll link their first episodes in the description below. Now, many of you may or may not know that I spent the last a little bit over a week traveling with the two of them. This was an incredible learning experience for me. It was my first time co-locating with other content creators and data scientists, and I think between the three of us, we learned quite a bit about how other people work and the benefits of working together. In this episode today, we're going to talk about some of our different working styles and how the collaboration between us turned into some really incredible new ideas, new content, and new philosophies on putting stuff into the world. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I had a blast speaking with these two. This is a very special episode of Ken's Nearest Neighbors. We are currently in the content house, the Byte house, the data influencer house. I don't know if any of us are influencers. I don't consider myself an influencer.
Byte is spelled with a Y, just
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, and influencer is spelled with a Y also. No, but we wanted to take the time to do something live and in person. I spent the last basically week and a half with Luke and Tina, and I thought it would be incredible to bring them in to talk about what we learned from working together. I mean, obviously, a lot of us are working in isolation now, and it was really cool and exciting to be able to learn from other people and see how they do things. So this could be related to any work. This could be related to your data work. There are many data scientists who started during the pandemic who have literally never worked with other people in person, right? You're working asynchronously, all these things. Yeah, Tina at her job, she never went into the office, right? I think that's pretty crazy. So I want to start with you guys to learn about, hey, like, what did you take away from this experience? Whether it was related to content, whether it was related to co-working, how did that go?
I want to start.
Okay, you can
No,
start
I'm
too.
just kidding, you go.
Thank you for that question, Ken. That was very insightful. Let me think about this. Yes. Okay. So I think from this experience, what the biggest takeaway I have gotten is that there are a lot of things that I could be improving that I didn't know about, and I wouldn't have known if I were doing it by myself. Because in my mind, I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna do this way, and this is probably fine. And then after being with Ken and Luke, and they're all like, blue lights on, blue lights off, cut that. So they were just like doing all these crazy things with cameras, like having multiple different angles, like color grading, things like that, things I just absolutely knew nothing about, made me realize that there was so much more I can be doing, so much more I can be expressing about myself, that I just simply wasn't. So that was like huge takeaway that was going there. And the second one was that before coming here, I actually really believed in working in isolation because I've just always done so. And I'm like, oh, this is work for me. So I don't need other people. I don't need to talk to anyone. But then after coming here, like realizing that there's so much information that you could be sharing with each other, and the creativity just absolutely goes through the roof. Like, this is something that I think I will take back. And then I would love to be able to talk with other creators and to create with other creators as well.
Incredible. What do you think, Luke?
That was a phenomenal answer. And she gave two, and so that her second one was actually mine. So thanks, Tina. Appreciate that. No, so I think building on that second point of that. So I was saying work in isolation, and I think so like my videos, I do everything myself. I write it, shoot it, edit it. Like I just can't like see going anywhere differently with that. But it's just like this has opened my eyes of how like potentially outsourcing things, but more importantly, I think the importance of just like working with others and like iterating through things, because like we would have come up with ideas like our thumbnail. We were talking about thumbnails or whatever, and I would spit out an idea, and then you or Tina would just like build on it further, and then I'd build on it further, and we'd just go back and forth, and we'd usually, I feel like, come to a much better answer that I would ever get to in isolation by myself. So yeah, I think the iteration of being around people, it's just so crazy out of the pandemic of working by yourself, and sometimes I think you need that like physical interaction.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think to me, something that was very interesting is to see how very different people with very different systems are successful. So like for people that don't know, like, Luke and Tina are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how they work. Like Luke is, I'd say like hyper organized, very methodical, meticulous. Like if something's not right, he'll just like shoot it again. And Tina is very much like, hey, bias towards action. Let's do this. I want to try. I want to experiment. Not that Luke doesn't experiment, but there's two like completely, totally, not necessarily opposing, but like most of the time contrarian philosophies. And I think you guys both grew so much from seeing like the opposite end of the spectrum and seeing it be successful. And to me, that's so cool. Is like, it's not the similar things that you see in each other that makes you learn. It's the like different forces that are at play. You're like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't even conceptualize that it could be done that way. Right. And you're like, oh, I thought like the other thing for me is like, I was like, wow, I thought I was putting thought or work into some of these things. And it's like, wow, like the way that Luke thinks about a thumbnail or thinks about a problem, it's fundamentally different than I do. So for anyone who cares about content creation, Luke told me this thing about, basically each of your thumbnails, you want to tell a story, right? And to me, that's pretty compelling. I mean, I'd never thought about it in that way. And it's been very meaningful to me to do as well.
Yeah, and I also learned that Luke has a great Southern accent.
What? Am I going to do it on podcast?
Yes, we also learned that Tina is scared of literally everything.
Yeah, I am afraid, but I still do it.
Yeah, and that's an important thing. Yeah. Incredible. Well, Tina, so we went to Arkansas, and then we are in Austin now.
Which I thought it was in Alabama.
Yes, Tina legitimately thought Arkansas was in Alabama, but she's not American, so sort of a pass.
I don't know anything of like Canada.
I thought Austin was in Dallas.
Tina, you're just exposing yourself.
You don't have to say anymore.
Okay, I just wanted to be completely transparent and honest with you guys.
That's kind of smart, unless we were to like bring it up later.
Yeah, I'm just telling you guys. I don't know what's happening pretty much all the time.
You also thought I lived in Alabama, vice Arkansas.
So, what did you think of the American South? We had very different foods. You heard some very different accents. What was your experience like?
Very different accents.
We went to a Buc-ee's, which is a giant gas station for what people don't know.
It was a great experience. Like, firstly, I learned that everything can be fried. Like, literally everything can be fried. It is amazing how not everybody is really, really fat. Like, it's absolutely, I think I gained like 5 pounds on this trip alone. Luke is not fat because he exercises a lot. So that was the biggest one. And then also, like, just people are just very different in the South. Everything is very large. I think that came out a little bit wrong. I mean that everything around me is very large. Like, trucks are very large.
Yeah, like we went to the Buc-ee's and it has 100 gas pumps.
Exactly.
Like,
there was
it's just
that.
ridiculous.
Everything was like just so much of something. I think that is the American dream. I think the South is the American dream.
Wow. Are you gonna move here or what?
Yes, I'm gonna move to Alabama. I would like to do that after my lease is over.
What was your favorite thing that you ate on the trip?
Ooh, so the first meal we ever had was the seafood. What is that called? Like the seafood food?
Yeah, the boiled seafood. Mm-hmm.
But also the fried stuff.
Oh, like the fried okra?
Yeah, like fried okra.
Oh, the hush puppies.
I wasn't so sure about the
Oh, okay.
hush puppies.
Okay.
Although I really like the story behind the hush puppies.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I like the fried okra a lot. The seafood boil is amazing. I like that it was a lot cleaner than other seafood boils that I have been eating previously. It was actually pretty clean. It wasn't like dunked in butter or anything like that. Also, fried mushrooms was amazing.
Yeah.
I think I just really like fried food. That's probably what it is. And I come to the South and everything is fried. I'm like, this is amazing. Everything is wonderful. Fried chicken. I love fried chicken as well. As you can see, I gained 5 pounds.
Before Tina's like, I have to lose all this weight before we go to the creator meetup. And then we just ate fried food the whole time.
Exactly.
Also, Ken is a great chef and a great person that will come to your house and will cook for you. So that was like one of the, I think, the highlights of having somebody that comes in and just like, me and Tina didn't even have to decide what we wanted to eat. Ken would just throw something together, and it was always top.
Yeah, my therapist would say it's because I'm a complete control freak, but that's okay. I don't mind. I quite enjoy cooking, so I might as well.
I'd be like, Ken, how about we grill this chicken? And he'd be like, no, we're gonna bake it. I'm like, okay.
And he's like, oh no, I didn't brine this salmon. Oh no. And then he has to brine the salmon. I'm just like,
Yeah, so for those who don't know, if you eat salmon and you brine it with salt and sugar so you don't get that like white film of stuff on the top that looks kind of gross. It doesn't really affect the flavor very much, but it's about presentation a lot of the time.
It is.
Yeah.
the presentation's amazing. Like he does the fancy spoon sauce thing that makes everything look really cool. I probably won't be doing that, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was because we had some extra time. We were waiting for someone on dinner, so.
Oh yeah, that's also another thing. I seem to be very poor at communication. I'm not really sure what's happening. Like somebody would tell me something, and then I just like don't know that I was supposed to.
Well, so actually, let's talk about that. I think that's a really interesting thing. So in person, you're like awful at communication, but digitally, you're amazing at communication, right? Like, is it because there's a log, or like?
I just feel like everything you say to me is not real. You're just like, even for this podcast, guys.
And so a good example of this with Tina, right, is we're shooting video of Tina. I'm shooting video of Tina, and I need to get her to smile. And I told her, I'm like, smile, and she just wouldn't smile. And so like I'm like feeling awkward because I'm like telling her to smile.
I'm just gonna like smile.
Smile. And she just didn't. And then afterwards, and then we show her the thing, she's like, I should have smiled in that. And we're like, we told you to smile, like multiple times. And she's like, oh, I thought you were just kidding.
And I thought you were telling yourself to smile. So I was like really
I was behind the camera.
I just didn't know. I thought like maybe this is cultural, and I didn't want to like impede on anybody else's.
This is what those Southern boys do. They tell themselves to smile.
Tina, who asks the most blunt questions all the time, she's like, this is when I choose to be very sensitive of other people.
Because I didn't want to impede, and it's for this podcast as well. So they told me it was supposed to start at 8:30, right? And I thought they were kidding about it. I also thought it was a live stream, so I didn't show up until 9:20.
When everyone in the house is like, "Oh yeah, you're doing the podcast at 8:30 this morning, right?"
Like, I don't know. I just like didn't understand what that meant. I think it's okay. In all honesty, I think what it is that in person, I just like I'm not very good at listening to other people because I just kind of sit here and think about stuff. And when people are talking to me, I just assume that they're talking to each other or something like that.
So how can we reconcile that? Do we just have to be like, Tina?
Yeah, I think you actually have to do that. You have to be like, Tina, you need to be here at 8:30 because you are required to be in this podcast.
Maybe it's good you never went in the office. I'm kidding. I said maybe it's good you never went in the office at work.
I think because I have worked in the office before, and definitely this has always been a problem because I'm just like, oh wow, what's happening? And everybody just leaves, and they're like, oh, we're supposed to get lunch. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting because I'm the complete opposite. Like I'm like very much. I'm so bad at digital communication, but I'm like I would like to think pretty good at in-person communication, where it's like. I don't know. Maybe it's like something about being present, and past girlfriends I've had have been like, you need to listen better. And so I tried to do better at that, but who knows?
Me too, but I still don't listen better. I think
Tina, your whole channel is about learning. That should be your next challenge.
learning how to listen.
Learning.
What do you guys think about that video?
Yeah.
Learning how to listen.
In the comments, let us know if you want to see that video from Tina.
Put 2 ears on a cell phone.
So we did a lot of work on brainstorming thumbnail ideas and something like that. And a thumbnail that I absolutely loved was the one where it was like about your phones listening to you, and I put ears on the phone. And I mean, the click-through rate wasn't that bad, but I was like, I guess people got weirded out by ears on a cell phone. But that's one we're probably going to need to reshoot at some point.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, I wasn't listening.
I wouldn't say for you, you're not a bad listener, right? Because you'll get in deep conversations with people. You'll get in deep conversations with people, and you're actively listening for that. But I think I think it's just somewhere different whenever you're like we're talking about something like doing a podcast. It's not like a conversation. It's like a different thing, a different form of communication.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're not a bad listener at all.
Yeah, if I'm aware that I should be listening, I think I'm quite good at listening. It's just oftentimes I'm not aware that I'm being spoken to, where like I'm supposed to be listening to something.
Yeah.
So,
Smile.
Yeah. And, it's a really interesting thing. So how did you guys feel from going when it was just us into like meeting so many more people? I like one thing that we determined over the course of this trip is I am very extroverted. You guys are both more introverts. And I think that that's something like I try to be really mindful of. It's difficult because I want to talk all the time. But how do you mitigate those situations? I mean, even for anyone else who's working or whatever it might be, how do you handle people like me in a work setting or when you can't get rid of us? Or like, what do you do to manage communication, or how do you effectively work through that?
pretend that I'm not listening.
And then you eventually actually start not listening.
Oh no, in all honesty though, because luckily Luke had 3 places to sleep. So I would just close the door, and that was like I would just be hiding in my room. And I think over time,
Next time meet up, I'm only getting one room. We just all have to be in it together.
Like he's back on the submarine. Also, for anyone listening, I've had individual podcasts with both Luke and Tina, so you can check those out. I'll definitely link those if you want more of the inside jokes that we're going to tell here.
what about you, Luke? How do you deal with sociable people?
Yeah, so like you go and you will go lock yourself in your room. I think my way of doing it is through exercise. So I'll just go do my own thing and just plug in headphones and get away. And so that's how I just sort of decompress and recharge myself. And I'm able to like think about conversations and be able to get back into it. Because I'm a strong introvert, so I like need time alone to recharge, or I can't function.
Is that why, Luke, you exercise for 4 hours a day?
I don't exercise for like 4 hours.
Fine, it's like 2 hours and 43 minutes.
I do like an hour of CrossFit and then like maybe an hour or more of mountain biking. So 2.
2.5, I would say. 2.5 every single day.
I do it also for diffuse learning. So,
Which you can learn about in Tina's new video.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. You see Luke, and he's throwing the medicine ball down really hard, and he's like, Ken freaking talking all the time, just like
Ken's nearest neighbors.
Don't talk to me, Ken.
Yeah. So we also got outside quite a bit. We did some mountain biking, which was new to me. How did you feel about that? I mean, I was actually very, very scared at some times, which I thought was like, I personally like that feeling. Tina, we know you're scared of everything, but you work through it. How does that fear of approaching a jump or something like that compare to talking with new people and conversation and those types? I mean, I would imagine it's different, but
Yeah, I would much prefer jumping on a bike and potentially dying. Talking to other people. No, I'm kidding. That's very different. Yeah, I'm like deathly afraid every time, but they just kept on going to me. I guess I have to do this too. I like a people pleaser, so I can't possibly impede. Like I don't want to, they're doing their thing, so I'm like, okay, I have to do this too. But I was like super scared the entire time. Yeah, that was when my butt really hurt.
Mine did too. Mine hurts so bad on the seats, but it was worth it.
Biked for like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then the third day I was like, "Hey, y'all ready to go biking?" Like, I can't sit down on the bike.
Yeah, and if anyone doesn't know, Luke has just a very structured butt for biking from all the squats. This episode is brought to you by Z by HP, HP's high compute, workstation grade line of products and solutions. Z is specifically made for high performance data science solutions, and I personally use the ZBook Studio and the Z4 workstation. I really love that Z workstations can come standard with Linux, and they can be configured with the data science software stack. With the software stack, you can get right to work doing data science on day one without the overhead of having to completely reconfigure your new machine. Now back to our show.
Show your structured, but what did you call it? The Barousse.
The Barousse caboose.
I was really surprised with y'all's mountain biking skills, right? So both Tina and Ken are very athletic beyond their like intellectual skills. So y'all were able to pick up mountain biking really quickly. And I guess it also surprised me with you like immediately getting into jumping, like actually like going full speed and trying to hit a jump to like get air. Because normally people don't do that. They get very scared. They don't want to leave the air, like get any air. So I was like really surprised with that. But both of y'all are picking it up really quick. So it was really crazy to just start on easy trails and then go up to harder trails quickly.
Yeah, well, I think pretty much everyone in our profession has some weird relationship with risk, right? I mean, there's you have to have some gear that says, hey, I want to go out and put content out there. I want to do something that deviates from a traditional like leisure time or work. And I find that really interesting because, there are also a lot of people that are terrified of other things, but they're willing to take certain risks, whether it's on a mountain bike or with content or those types of things. How do you guys view risk in your career or view risk in I guess in life? Is there something that you have a philosophy on it, or?
Yeah. Well, we sort of talked about that a little bit with risk on bike. So like the flight or fright mindset. So I look at it as, with like I guess you probably could explain it better with like the back in the caveman days because I can't talk about that kind of stuff. But so I look at it as specific to exercise. I like to take risk mainly to just like understand that what a real stress is. So I like to jump my bike. It can be dangerous. I broke my wrist last year. Going over the handlebars, but I like to take that type of risk because then I can come back after I ride my bike and do that and get back into whatever the environment I'm in and working in and realize that, hey, maybe this project I'm working on that I'm stressing about so much, like it's actually not that big of a deal. Like it sort of helps level out or helps me put it better in perspective of what the actual stress is of that. So I like to inject risk outside of work in order to help mellow myself out in work.
Hashtag not financial advice. Don't YOLO all your stonks to take risk. You would not agree with that statement,
No,
would you?
no.
That's very bad. Actually, so that story about the caveman thing, so it's pretty interesting. The reason why so many people like white collar workers are so stressed these days, one of the theories is that back in the caveman days, stress was used as a way for you to move your body. So when you naturally move your body because something is hunting you, then you're going to keep running, right? And then that will relieve the stress you experience from being hunted. But we feel a lot of stress right now from things like, deadlines or work or stuff like that. But you can't relieve that stress because you're not actually moving your body to relieve it. So you're just trying to move your brain to do so. That's why exercise is so important because you're kind of compensating for that, getting that stress out of your body because it's a very physiological reaction that has to occur.
Yeah, I think that's the physiological aspect is very fascinating to me. So what happens in our body with stress and excitement is almost virtually identical, but it's up to our brain to determine if it's scary or exciting. And that to me, a long time ago, gave me the power over to control if something is scary or if I was exhilarated by it. An example, I gave a keynote a week ago, 2 weeks ago, And when I get on stage, it's 100 or so people, nothing. Just like I'm completely unbothered by it. But that's because I'm viewing it as something really exciting rather than something I'm terrified of. I'm like there, like my foot's tapping and I'm jittery and whatever it is. But it's not that I'm scared. It's that like, wow, I'm super amped about this experience. And it's how I've framed that scenario. And I think that that's a really important thing to realize. I mean, the mountain biking, I was scared, right? But then once you start once you start getting going, you get used to it and you're like, okay, this is really exciting. Like, I mean, in something new like that, you're always thinking about worst case scenarios. Like, oh, I fall, it's not soft like snow, like skiing like I'm used to. It'll hurt real bad. But once you're like, okay, well, if I don't lean into it a little bit, I have a higher chance of falling. To me, that's wild. Like if you don't really embrace the speaking and you come off nervous, then it's going to turn out worse because you're going to show up nervous or whatever it might be. So you might as well just dive all the way in and immerse yourself into it.
Key though is that you still feel that emotion, right? And I actually think that's important because if you don't feel it, it means you don't care. So you clearly do care a lot about it, and you're using that adrenaline to fuel you in order to speak better, to be more aware, to be more alert. While some like other people may feel that as fear. So I think that when people say like, oh, how do you get better at public speaking? Like, how do you get over that fear? How do you get over that feeling? I think you never do if you actually care about public speaking. It's just you learn to channel it in a different way.
I think you think about it in a different way, right? I will say I think you generally do acclimate a little bit. Yeah, I mean, when I do, I mean, are you as nervous every time you do a live stream now as when you started?
That's fair. Yeah, I was definitely way more nervous during then. However, maybe I'm just not as accustomed to doing talks. But whenever I do a talk, even though it's something that I've done previously, I always get that feeling. And so it's interesting. Whenever I film a video, I still get that exact same feeling, and it's been almost 2 years now. So every time, I still feel that all my nerves get jumbled up. I assume you also feel
When in
that.
that process is it when you release the video or is it when you're filming the
When I'm
video?
filming it, when I'm about to film.
Interesting. I feel nothing when I'm filming it. It's like this is business as usual. I'm doing my script, and then once I release it, that's when I'm like, wow, this is actually going to the world. That's the performance, no?
Because it's already done. So it's like now it's up to fate.
Yeah, I would say my nervousness or my level of energy or excitement is writing down here and then shooting the video here and then back to editing. It goes back down and released.
Yeah, well, we've also talked about this quite a bit, is that I have no qualms about making the video. That's the easiest part for me. And you guys, I mean, Luke, you love the editing the most. Tina, I don't know which part of the process you like the most. She likes, well, so yeah, you like the shooting the most too. But
I like thinking about what I'm gonna talk, not when I'm actually.
So you like the planning. So we should just, Tina should script it. I should record it. And Luke should edit it.
Bam, right?
All right, new collaboration channel coming up, everyone.
About mountain biking.
That'd be wild. And we need to get like Shashank to voice over it.
Yes. Yeah.
Just imagine him dubbing my voice in.
Luke goes over this hill. He has completed the jump. I'm not very good at it.
No, keep going.
Yeah, I don't know what else do you do except that.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Or go back up the hill.
Oh, okay.
No, he uses his electric bike to go back up the hill and leaves us in the dust. Amazing. So I think we have to take Tina to the airport. But do you go?
9 more minutes.
If you want to talk for 9 more minutes, sure. But
Like, yes. Anything else?
all right.
You have
Well,
something to share?
No.
Oh.
well, if you did have something to share for the listeners, we're this is the 99th episode, almost the 100th episode. The 100th episode teaser is actually with my dad, and I bring him on, which is actually a wild conversation. The old man is crazy. But I mean, do you have anything that you'd like to share? Probably more related to this experience, just all coming together. Obviously, meeting me is, I'm sure, like a wild. I'm just kidding.
One of the joys of my life right now.
No, is there anything you think other people could take away from congregating more in person these days? I mean, obviously there are safety concerns, but I honestly didn't remember or realize how valuable an experience it is to actually be physically co-located with people again. Is there anything that you guys would take away from that or would like to communicate about that?
Yeah, you want to go? Oh, yeah. So I guess I like the co-locating acts. So whenever I was working as a data analyst, I worked with teams remotely, and I would go visit them sometimes and work with them in person. But I never really, if people aren't talking about things they're excited about, I don't feel like there's not much productivity. So there's sometimes I went on business trips to go talk with people or meet with people in person, and they weren't excited about it or what they were doing. I did notice there were sometimes like one of my first projects as a data analyst, there was this one guy I was working with, and I would have to travel to go meet him. Very passionate about it, very productive meetings. Yeah, I think it just all goes to passion and getting people around you that have that same passion. It's not just being in person. If you're not having that same common interest, I don't think that's going to be fruitful or beneficial. It'll be just, might as well just do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Yeah. First thing is, she's staring at me. Ken is very different in person, I think.
Yeah. Well, we met him, and his voice was like completely different in person.
I did also have COVID, so I was over it, but yeah.
But we met him, and he's like talking all weird to us, and we're like, "Is this really Ken G?"
Yeah. But after a while, like the weird stuff came out, so then it was normal again.
Tina.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest takeaway was definitely that I should co-locate. What is it?
Co-locate?
Co-locate. Okay.
Yeah.
Co-locate with other people.
Live around other people.
Yeah, like live with everybody else. It actually is amazing. It's just the ideas are flowing, and I also feel like I'm a lot more open to taking risk and a lot more open to doing things I wouldn't do. Like for me, when I film, I just film everything in one setting. I'm just like, okay, now that's it. But with Luke, you do it through multiple days. You like plan different B-roll and things like that. And I would normally just be like, oh no, like that's too hard, that's too much effort, I have to move my camera around. I'm like, okay, like this is something that I can take away and be able to start doing for myself. Because I just thought that was way too hard for me to possibly do something like that. And just that risk that I conceive as risk at that point is something that I was able to overcome with people around. So I think it's really, really important to be around people that are passionate about what it is that they do. And then I think really amazing things can come out of it. Also, I can't wait until the next one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 100% agree. I think that, so one thing that we don't think about that much is about how nice it is for recording and stuff to have other people around. I mean, I don't have to shoot all my own stuff on a tripod. We all double check it. I mean, the production quality of this podcast episode is going to be so much higher than any other ones because, I had Luke to help me set up 3 cameras and make it all really nice, right?
It just like speeds up the workflow so much faster, gets you more creative, get different angles, and then you're not just, like I mess up so often by myself. Just messing up audio or whatever angle.
And then you have to go and like do whatever, change stuff and whatever it might be. And you also, I found a very powerful motivation. I mean, seeing other people work has been really eye-opening to me. Is that like, wow, Luke's working on this really hard. I should be working on something, right?
I should be working on something.
To me, that's cool. It's such like a different environment, and the motivation you get and the sort of collaboration opportunities. It's very much a scenario where 1 + 1 = 3, right? Where if you're together, just the amount of ideas or different perspectives. I mean, in my room by myself, I have no one telling me that's a bad idea, right? I have no one saying this is, yeah, all right. The ears on the phone weren't that bad, but there were other things where Luke's just like, wow, that's just terrible. I'm like,
but he says it nicer. He's like, maybe
not after 2 glasses of wine.
Oh, that's true. Then Luke becomes like, why would you think that?
I look at it and I'm like, wow, that was really bad. Like, why did I do that? And it's because there's no discussion around it. It's like,
yeah, it's a discussion in your head, and it's nothing.
And that happens to me a lot. I'll do polls on YouTube, and I'm like, wow, what I thought people would be interested in, just not at all, right? and that's okay. I mean, that's like I cherish that. I want more of that in my life. So I'm definitely looking forward to more things like this. Again, you'll probably see some of the best content that at least I've ever been a part of coming out of this trip. I'm really excited for everyone to be a part of that as well by seeing it.
I would like now to bow to Luke.
What? No, we're not bowing. Tina likes to make me uncomfortable by bowing to me.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to show my appreciation and also apologizing for not listening. So, it's like one of those things, if you just keep bowing, it's like you're preemptively apologizing for whatever it is that you're going to do.
Well, in this case, postceptively.
Yeah, it's true. But no, I've bowed a few times prior, so I feel like that compensates in some fashion, I'm sorry that was late.
It's okay. It is okay. All right, well, let's not make you late to the airport. Thank you both for coming on for this very special KNN chat. I hope to do more in-person podcasts. This was really sick. Sweet. Thank you, guys.
Hi, guys. See you guys in the next video or live stream.